And we're back here with This Week in Roane County with me, Julia Hurley, and we are speaking with Chief of Police of Harriman City, Randy Heidle. Randy, thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome.
Viewers, let me catch you up. We have gone over all the new programs that they have, and it is a fantastic organization they have going on over there. We were right in the middle of talking about the church security training when we had to take a short break, so let's pick up from there.
Okay. Matter of fact, I have a class tonight I'm teaching when I'm done here. The reason I started this was that churches, if you've been reading and watching the news, you know, there's been some stuff, especially last year, they had a shooting in a church. And the one thing about churches, they're very vulnerable to criminals because it's just open. It's open to everybody. And so what I'm trying to do is just, I'm not trying to make, when I teach the class, we don't teach them to make the church feel like a police department. You know, you don't want to shy and be away from church. You want to still have open doors, but I want them to be more aware of their surroundings. And so that's what we kind of teach, you know. And they have, and most churches have some kind of a hall monitors or security team or something like that. And we try to give them tips, some things they can do. Now, a lot of the churches I've taught already have already been doing a lot of things we've been teaching them. But there's a few things they may not be doing. And so maybe every church that's been there so far has learned something. Well, you know what, we never thought about that, but I think we're going to try that out now. Or we're going to have this or have this, you know. So it's been a really successful program. Everybody that's ever been to it has been very excited when they get done. They go back to the church and they try something new, and everybody seems to be very, very willing to listen to it and willing to try something. But the main thing is just trying to keep it where people, nothing bad will happen in churches. Same with the schools, you know. We're always concerned about, you hear about school shootings too, and we're not immune to the big city crime. You know, it can happen here, it can happen anywhere else. So that's what's really about, you know, it helps them out.
Well, let's get to know you a little bit. We've got some of the programs you're setting forth, how you're working with Roane County, which is absolutely fantastic. And let's just talk a little bit about you, how you got to be where you are, your experience, and what I would like to get to after that is your most interesting case you've ever worked on.
Okay. Well, I actually started in Harriman City Police Department in 1994. I've been there for 15 years. I've been in law enforcement for 16 years. I left in Harriman City for 1 year to work in Kingston City. But while I was in Harriman, I started in Patrol Division, worked there, Patrol Division, for at least 5 years. I was promoted to Detective Division, and I worked as a detective for nearly 8 years. Worked a lot of different cases. And then from being a detective, I left for just 1 year to work over in Kingston City as a detective over there. And then the chief at the time run for sheriff, won the sheriff race, and they had called me and asked me if I'd be willing to come back to Harriman as a chief. And I've always loved working at Harriman. I mean, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't have been there as long as I had. And I loved the people there, and I loved the organization, so I was very happy to come back. It took me about 3 seconds to make that decision. When they asked me, I knew that's what I wanted to do. So since I've been there, it's been a great experience. I would have to say my best job so far as law enforcement has been the chief. It really has. It's got bad times and good times, but overall, I couldn't ask for a better job, couldn't ask for a better council or better citizens or a better mayor right now. You know, they've always been very supportive of me and the police department. You asked me one of the most interesting cases I worked. I got two actually. One was an arson case. And I was able to solve this case. One of the homes was caught on fire and burnt down. Somebody had it was an arson, and they had set it. One of the things about the case was interesting. I was able to solve it by DNA. I found a cigarette butt at the scene, and I took that cigarette butt and was able to extract DNA from that. And from that, I went ahead and went through the city of all the individuals I ever dealt with dealing with fires, or anybody that was connected to the property. And I got DNA samples, and a long story short, I was able to find the suspect who lived about a half a block down the road from that, and I was able to get a conviction from the case, and which was really interesting. That was my very first DNA case where I was able to solve something like that. My other case was a murder case. It was an elderly woman who moved up here from Texas, and she only lived in Harriman for maybe 4 months and disappeared. But yet her grandson and grandson's lover, which was another male, was still living there. And anyway, about in July of 2000, I believe, July of 2000 or 01, I can't remember. They had the family from Texas had called concerning they haven't heard from their mother in a long time. Well, it was very suspicious. A lot of things about the case that went on. By August, after me doing all the questioning, the grandson and his lover had fled and went to Massachusetts. Now, I kept track of where they were because it's real easy nowadays to keep track. If you buy a magazine or if you got the utility bill somewhere, very easy on the internet to figure out where you're at if you got your name on those stuff. So we knew they were still staying in Massachusetts. It continued. The problem I had a great case against them. They had spent her money, they were driving her car, they were doing all kinds of stuff, but we did not have a body. Did not have the body, didn't know where it was. And their story was she had left to Florida with some friends to get knee surgery. And then she actually gave several different stories. Anyway, about 2 years later, we did recover her body up on Rockwood Mountain. And that was the piece I was missing to be able to get enough probable cause to arrest these people. And I got an indictment from it. Me and a TBI agent, Tommy Callahan, actually flew to Massachusetts ourselves and picked them up and brought them back to Tennessee. One's already was convicted, and the other one is convicted now, and he's spending time in prison right now for second-degree murder, I believe he was convicted of. So that was my most
case.
Yes, yeah, and that was a long case. That was about 2.5 years long. I didn't give up on it. I had probably 3 different partners on that case when I started. Yeah, so I was really happy for the family. They get to closure like that. So,
how many businesses in Roane County or Harriman City benefit from the police department being there so close right down the road? How many calls do you get? Do you get a lot of break-ins? How's the crime rate?
Yeah, the crime rate really, we got crime, you know, I mean, I'm never going to get crime away, but since 2006 and now, we basically, from the crime stats, had decreased crime by 50%. The big thing is burglaries. We actually decreased it from being on an average of 150 a year down to about 60, 70 a year. So we've done a great job working together as a team. The businesses obviously have benefited from it because our burglaries have cut down, our thefts are cut down. We still have them, you know, but we're working to make it even lower, you know, and that's where neighborhood watch programs come in, having very good backgrounds on people you hire, having a good structure, you know, that the officers know what they expect. My biggest mission or my biggest statement to my officers is, it's not about us. We're here for the citizens. We're public servants. So we have to be here to try and make a safe place for these people to live at. So and they all believe in that, so they're all trying to do that.
All right, Roane County, you heard it right here from Chief of Harriman City Police, Randy Heidle. They're here for you. Go visit them at harrimanpolice.com. You can also visit them on their Facebook fan page at Harriman Police Department on Facebook. Thanks for visiting us on Roane County this week.